There is a number that sits in most people's heads when they look at a Rolex on someone's wrist. They assume it means money, real money, the kind of money that comes from a corner office, a trust fund, or a business that finally paid off. They look at that watch and they think that is not for someone like me. I would need to be rich first. That belief is wrong, not slightly wrong, completely wrong. And the reason it is wrong is the most interesting thing about luxury watches, because it is the one piece of financial logic that almost nobody applies to the thing on their own wrist. So let me show you the real math. Not the fantasy, not the flex. The actual numbers behind owning one of the most recognizable status objects on Earth, and why the price tag is answering a question almost nobody is asking. Here is the first thing to understand. The entry point to Rolex is far lower than you think. The most affordable model the company makes is called the Oyster Perpetual. No date window, no spinning bezel, no complications. Just a steel case, an automatic movement, and the name. New at retail, that watch starts at around $6,200 and runs to about $6,800 for the larger size. Now I know how that sounds. Almost $7,000 for a watch. That is not nothing. But hold that number in your head, because in a few minutes I am going to show you that this is one of the few luxury purchases on the planet where the price tag is not the real cost. The price tag is just the deposit. Let me separate two things that most people blur together. There is the dream of owning a Rolex, and there is the object itself. The dream is the feeling. It is glancing down at your wrist in a meeting and knowing. It is handing the watch to your kid one day. It is owning one genuinely beautiful, mechanical, made-to-outlive-you thing in a world of disposable everything. That is the dream. The object is a small machine made of steel, and here is what nobody tells you about that machine. Unlike almost everything else you could spend $7,000 on, it is engineered to give most of your money back. To see why that matters, you have to compare it to the thing most people happily spend far more on without blinking. A car. The average new car in America now costs around $49,000. Late last year, the average crossed $50,000 for the first time in history. Now watch what happens to that money. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it begins to fall. The typical car loses about 20% of its value in the first year alone. On a $49,000 car, that is nearly $10,000 gone in 12 months for the privilege of being the first owner. Over 5 years, the average car sheds close to 60% of its value. Electric cars are worse, losing 35 to 40% in year one. Sit with that for a second. One single year of depreciation on an average new car is larger than the entire price of an entry-level Rolex. People will finance a $50,000 vehicle, lose $10,000 in the first year, and never think of it as a loss. They call it normal. Then they look at a $7,000 watch and call it irresponsible. The math says the exact opposite, because here is what a Rolex actually does with your money. After an initial dip when it goes from brand new to pre-owned, a well-chosen steel Rolex barely moves. A pre-owned Submariner, one of their iconic sport models, often loses only 5 to 10% over several years and then holds. A Datejust might give up 20 to 30% over time, which is still dramatically better than a car. And some models, like certain Daytonas, do something no car has ever done for a normal owner. They go up. They sell for more pre-owned than they cost new. This is the part that breaks people's brains. A luxury object that does not punish you for owning it. A thing you can wear every single day for a decade and then sell for most, sometimes all of what you paid. So let me show you the routes. The real ways an ordinary person, not a rich person, actually puts a Rolex on their wrist without lighting money on fire. There are 4, and I am going to take you from the smartest to the most patient. Route 1. Buy pre-owned or certified pre-owned. This is the single best value path, and it is the one the people who actually understand watches use most. A pre-owned Oyster Perpetual averages around $5,000, and older references can be found from $2,000 to $3,000. Rolex even runs its own certified pre-owned program now, where the watch comes authenticated by Rolex with a 2-year warranty. You are buying the same steel, the same movement, the same name, with the first owner's depreciation already absorbed by someone else. You skip the worst part of the curve entirely. Route 2. The gray market. These are brand new, authentic Rolex watches sold outside the official dealer network. For years, the hot steel sport models traded 10 to 30% above the official price here because demand outran supply. But something shifted. After the recent round of price increases, that gap collapsed. Some models now sell at, or even below, the official retail price on the gray market. The catch is you get the dealer's warranty instead of Rolex's, so you buy from a reputable one. But for getting the exact watch you want today without a wait list, it has quietly become a smart option again. Route 3. The authorized dealer at official price. Yes, the popular sport models have wait lists that can stretch for years, and that is the part everyone complains about. But here is the thing nobody mentions. The less hyped models, the Oyster Perpetual, the Air King, the very watches we have been talking about, are often sitting available at the official price right now. You walk in, you pay retail, you get the full 5-year warranty and pristine paperwork. The waitlist game only exists for the watches the internet told you to want. So here is a question for you, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. If you put a Rolex on your wrist tomorrow, which route would you actually take? The smart pre-owned play, or would you wait years for a brand new one from the dealer just to be the first owner? Tell me below, because the answer says a lot about how you really think about money. Route 4 for the patient. Previous generation references. Every time Rolex updates a model, the prior version drops in price on the secondary market while losing almost none of what makes it great. You are getting yesterday's flagship at a discount the moment the new one launches. The watch did not get worse. The catalog just moved on. Let me make one of these concrete because the routes can feel abstract until you watch the money move. Say you decide on the pre-owned path. You find a clean 3-year-old Oyster Perpetual for around $5,000 with its original box and warranty card. You wear it every day. 5 years later, life changes, and you decide to sell. A well-kept steel Oyster Perpetual with its papers intact will, in most markets, sell for somewhere very close to what you paid, sometimes more if prices have moved. So your real cost for 5 years of wearing a Rolex every single day was a few $100s, maybe less. Now run that same 5 years on the $49,000 car you financed instead. You lost close to $30,000. One of these was an experience that cost almost nothing. The other was a slow, quiet, completely normalized fortune walking out the door. Same 5 years, same person, wildly different math. And there are levers inside the math that most people never learn. Small things that decide whether a watch costs you almost nothing or actually makes you money. The first is paperwork. A Rolex with its original box, warranty card, manuals, and tags sells for 10 to 25% more than the exact same watch without them. So the boring habit of keeping a cardboard box in a drawer is worth, in real dollars, more than $1,000 on resale. The second is servicing. A watch that was serviced by the manufacturer in the last couple of years, with the receipt, commands a premium, because the next buyer avoids a service bill that can run $500 to $1,500. None of this is insider knowledge. It is just the part of the story that the fantasy version of owning a Rolex never mentions, And it is exactly the part that turns the purchase from a splurge into an asset you happen to wear. And if even the pre-owned Rolex is a stretch right now, there is a ladder beneath it that most people never look at. Tudor is Rolex's own sister brand, built by the same company. Their Black Bay model gives you a huge share of the prestige and quality for around $3,600, available now, no wait list, and it holds 80 to 85% of its value. An Omega Seamaster starts around 6,700, and below that, Oris, Mido, Hamilton, Tissot, and Seiko make genuine Swiss and Japanese automatic watches, real mechanical movements, for $1,000 to $2,000 or less. The dream of a serious watch on your wrist does not actually require the crown on the dial. Now let me put the real cost in front of you, the number that ends the argument. Take a liquid steel sport watch you bought for $7,000. Wear it every day for 10 years. Because it is the kind that holds value, you sell it down the road for, say, 80 to 90% of what you paid. Your true cost of ownership over that decade might be $700 to $1,400. Spread across 10 years of daily wear, that is somewhere around 20 to 40 cents a day. 20 to 40 cents a day to wear one of the most respected objects ever made. Now go back to the car. $49,000, 60% gone in 5 years. That is nearly $29,000 of pure loss, roughly $16 a day in depreciation, for something that will be worthless in 20 years. We have simply agreed as a culture that the car loss is normal and the watch is a vanity. The numbers say it is the other way around. There is one more habit here worth borrowing from people who are quietly good with money. They do not own a drawer full of watches. They own one. The instinct most of us have, the moment we can afford something nice, is to buy several cheaper versions of it. 3 or 4 fashion watches, a couple $100 each, none of which holds a cent of value, all of which end up in a drawer. Add that up over a lifetime and it is real money, spent on objects that gave nothing back. The wealthier instinct is the opposite. Buy one serious thing, the right thing, and let it be the only thing. One watch, worn for 20 years, that holds its value, beats a rotating pile of disposable ones every single time on cost and on the feeling of owning it. Less but better is not just taste. It is math. And this is the principle that goes so far beyond watches. The rich did not get rich by buying expensive things. They got rich by understanding which expensive things give the money back and which ones swallow it. A watch that holds value is an asset you happen to wear. A car that loses 60% is a cost you happen to drive. Same instinct, 2 completely different financial outcomes. Once you can see that difference, you start seeing it everywhere, in homes, in furniture, in every status object you have ever wanted. The question is never how much does it cost. The question is how much does it actually cost you to own after you give it back. So the Rolex was never really the dream. The feeling of owning one beautiful, lasting, valuable thing in a disposable world, that was the dream. And that dream has a price tag a lot closer to the cost of a used economy car than to the fortune you imagined. The only thing standing between most people and that watch was the belief that they had to be rich to deserve it. You don't. You never did. And now you know the math. If this changed how you think about one expensive thing you've been telling yourself you can't have, there are a lot more of these. The real math behind the life you actually want. Subscribe, and let's keep decoding it together.